Hi, I'm Jean, and I like books, different types of books, biographies, fiction, nonfiction. I love fantasy. That's my top one that I love. I do love poetry as well, but fantasy. And this is a story, my story, of the book that made me open my eyes to the different ways that I look at things. Made me think outside the box. Well, in the box. And you'll understand why I said that in the end of the video. But like every story, let's start at the beginning. I was born in Puerto Rico, and I had to leave when I was 3. I spoke Spanish, but when I moved to Alaska, of all places, I started speaking English. So my mom would talk to me in Spanish, and I'd talk to her back in English. And she didn't know that it was happening because she just translated my English to Spanish, it's pretty cool if you think about it. But anyways, my grandma came over from Puerto Rico, and she was worried that I was speaking English while she was speaking Spanish. So she got me some books, Spanish to English books. And on my birthday, when I went back to Puerto Rico, they got me more books, more Spanish to English books, for I could read that and not forget the language, as some people do. But now I understand it. I can speak it if I want to. It's whatever happens, happens. But anyways, I hated reading those books. I hated every second that I was reading those books. It was annoying because I had to do it and I didn't enjoy doing it. Then I went to school. I started going to school. I started doing SSR, Silent Sustained Reading. Silent Sustained Reading is SSR for short. It's when there's different levels of books that you have to read, and you have to keep going up on each book to get to the last book, and then you could read at that point, and they observe as to what book you go to, what book you're comfortable in, or they could send you to the next grade and give you those types of books to read, give you options to read. And I started at the bottom. We all start at the bottom, and you have to read a book, a small 2-page book, and you have to answer the questions at the bottom. And the books were fun. I loved them, but I was never great at the questions, so I didn't level up as faster as my classmates. But I enjoyed reading it. That's when I started to reading's pretty cool. It's not like a boring task that I have to do every day here and there, and I have to learn something. It could be fun. And then in middle school, that's when I started getting into more difficult books. Still in the fantasy era, but more books. That's when I started reading Harry Potter. That's where my love for Harry Potter came from. I read the first book and I was completely hooked of the entire series, but I was kind of scared of the other books because they were way bigger than Sorcerer's Stone. But it took me a while. I finished Harry Potter in freshman year, and in my last year I asked him for ideas of what books that I should read. And then he gave me the idea of The Little Prince. And this is a book that made me open my eyes, open my mind, think outside the box. And the way that why I said it made me think inside the box is because in the beginning of the book, there's a pilot who crash lands in the desert in the middle of nowhere, and then he wakes up to see a little kid, and then the little boy tells him to draw him a sheep. And so the man draws him a sheep like you and I would draw a sheep. He draws him a sheep, and then the little boy, he didn't like it. So he drew him a different sheep, a sheep with horns. And then he said, I don't like it. And then the man drew him a box with holes in it. And inside that, and then he gave it to the boy, and the boy loved it. Immediately he loved it, because inside that box was his imagination. He saw the sheep inside the box, and he could feed it, he could take it anywhere, he could love the sheep however he wants. And that's why I love this book, because it makes you think differently. It teaches you about love, about other ways people think. It tells you about society today, pretty much, but like in a kid fashion, because it is a kid's book. And I do recommend you read The Little Prince. It's very eye-opening. It's very indulging. It puts you inside the book. It feels like I'm the pilot, or I'm the little prince living on the moon, or crashing into the Sahara Desert in the middle of nowhere. That's why I love books, because the community, the way you get wrapped up into it, that you spent hours inside this world, and that's why I love books. Thank you.